I think I want to say that they're the power depths, they're the power depths that are still up there, and these are the. Well, actually, no, that doesn't even make sense. I think they're the square size ones, actually. You'd think I worked this out beforehand, but no. This is the second time I've done this video, but I still haven't actually planned it, as I never do. New year, new video! So after my kind of unplanned break for the latter part of 2023, due to, stuff, really. Thank you for everyone that contacted me. Thank you for everyone who asked after me. It's deeply, deeply appreciated. I haven't, at the time of doing this, actually even looked at the comments on the channel for months. So I will get round to answering anything that needs answering. So thank you for bearing with me. So I'm doing this on the 4th of January. I'm not really one for resolutions. I never have been, but I'm promising myself to try and do at least a video every 2 weeks for this going forward. So I'm hoping, having knocked a few things on the head, that I'm going to have time to actually do it, and I'm going to have the inclination to do it as well. I kind of just got a little bit I just kind of had enough of doing this, to be honest. I actually did a whole bunch of videos. I recorded a bunch of videos back in June, and I started to edit one of them, and then I just couldn't be bothered to finish it. And then a week became a month, became 2 months, became 6 months, and but here I am. I'm back, and I thought I would talk about this lovely little beastie that I've actually had this kit set up for a couple of months now, because I've just enjoyed playing it so much. So I think in my one of my last videos where I talked about my little Starclassic stash, I think I mentioned that I'd actually managed to pick up another violet shade Starclassic maple kit. And this kit now is kind of a combination of those two kits. I kind of made it into a shell bank. When I got the other kit, there are some duplicates in sizes but not depths. So I set this kit up a few months ago to work on some sort of heavier rock stuff, which I subsequently stopped and gratefully stopped doing soon afterwards. So I've just enjoyed playing it. I did say in that Starclassic video that these are like some of my absolute favourite drums ever really, actually. And having this kit set up absolutely reinforces that for me. These are genuinely, I think, actually my favourite drums. My favourite type of drum, my favourite line of drums, model of drums, whatever. I just love playing these things so much. I love the way they sound. I love the way they respond. And I love the way they look as well, actually. So having this kit set up for the last couple of months has been great fun. I didn't really start out, I'll come to the sizes and stuff in a minute, but I didn't really set out. I think I had 3 toms up top and then one on the floor, and I put this other one over here up a little bit more recently. I'm still toying with the idea of putting the 14 up as well, but I'll come to that in a minute. So, as I mentioned, I've got a couple of duplicate sizes in this shell bank, although they're not the same depth. So, as far as I can remember, these are the power toms, and the square size ones are still up there. At least the square size 10 is still up there, I hope. If it's not, then I'm absolutely terrible with depths. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's a 10 and a 12 start there, and there's one down here as well. So I've got 8, 10, 12, 13 rack toms, 16-inch floor tom, which is actually on I think it's actually a World Max rims floor mount. I do like these, and I do prefer it too, to be honest, for most of the kits. It's as wobbly as anything, but if you know anything about the Star line, you know, the brackets are designed to wobble anyway, so I figured that's probably not too much of a problem. I probably need to do these up a little bit tighter, to be honest. That's more likely what the problem is. But I've never had an issue with these wobbling, so it doesn't matter. So the 8-inch has got a coated G1 and a clear G1 on the bottom. All of the other toms, and in fact, actually including this snare drum, have got UV1s on the top and G1s on the bottom. The snare side's probably got 300 on it. So I cocked up when I was getting heads for this second kit. I had absolutely had it in my head that I had a UV EMAD on the existing bass drum, and it turns out I didn't. So I got mismatched heads on the bass drums, which is obviously not a problem for normal people, but clearly there's very little normal in my head, and so I find it a little bit annoying. But so on the right bass drum, which is the 2216, I've just got a regular EMAD. It's a clear EMAD, and it's on the front. Now I did have a logo head on there, a Starclassic logo head on there. Apparently, before I set this kit up, apparently I had taken that off and forgotten. So it's now basically got a full ebony head on it, which ordinarily I would have changed, but it actually sounded quite good as was, and which I'll come to. So moving over to the left bass drum, that's the 2218. I think normally what I would do, in my head at least, is have the deeper bass drum on the right side. However, logistically in this room, because there's stuff very close to the end of the bass drum, putting the 18 in there was kind of just too much of a push. So I swapped them round. Kind of worked out fine. So on the left bass drum, I've got the standard Tama ported logo head, and on this side I've got a UV EMAD, which, as I said, is what I thought the other one had at the time. But yeah. So they've both got. Now I can't remember exactly what's in the left bass drum, but I think I put a rolled up blanket in there, and I can see the other one, so I can tell you that there is a blanket and a rolled up towel in it. Now normally I would have the rolled up towel touching the batter head at the bottom. And I would have the blanket just touching the bottom of the front here. Now, this kind of got knocked about a little bit, and because it sounded kind of cool, I didn't do anything with it. So what's actually going on, which I'll wave the camera around so you can get a view of it, but basically is that the blanket is mostly touching the front head, and some of the rolled up towel is actually touching the batter head, but it's actually not too much. But having said that, both bass drums are they're similar, but they're not the same. And I figured that I was never going to try and get it the same because they were set up differently and they're obviously different sizes. It was just too much time to waste to just try and get them equal for, let's face it, I'm not recording records in here, so it doesn't matter. And if it's good enough for Danny Carey, then it's good enough for me without even remotely the same level of talent. So, but the thing is that the right bass drum has kind of like got a little bit more sort of body and oomph to it, whilst the left bass drum has got a little bit more sort of attack to it. But they are pitched similar enough to where you could probably tell, but it's not sort of one's high and one's low. So it's good enough for me in my head. So that's kind of the drum. Oh no, tell a lie, it's not kind of it for all the drums. So in fact, my good mate Charlie Smith, who some of you whose name at least some of you will have seen knocking around the internet. he very kindly put me on to the second of the Starclassic kits, and he very graciously brought it down from, and those in the UK will understand the Oop North, where this kit was located, and yeah, he sorted that out for me, and Charlie, thank you again. He also put me onto this. Now this is the 14 by 6.5 inch version of the Starclassic Maple snare drum. Now this one doesn't have re-rings, and it's the same as the 14.5 version, or 5.5 version, which I have had since 1995, which is just sat over there. Now I say this doesn't have re-rings simply because, two reasons really. One, time of nerds. Of which I'm not really that nerdy. I'm just an aficionado. But time of nerds, kind of like that's the first thing they'll ask you, does it have re-rings or not? And secondly, because the green sparkle version of this drum that I have, which is just up there, actually does have re-rings in it. So maybe that's something for a future video. I don't know, just to see whether or not the two do sound different or behave differently with and without re-rings. But other than that, it is basically the same drum. I love this drum. I got it from a very nice man. Strangely, with that, I won't do a separate video on this because, at least not for the foreseeable future, because it's just another maple drum. But the fun thing was basically I sent an inquiry. Charlie put me onto this. I sent an inquiry through Gumtree. I then had a call, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird. I don't remember leaving my number on Gumtree, but fair enough. And then we had a chat. We agreed to meet up the following day. I was going to go over and to the person's house, the fella's house, and pick up the drum. And I drove around and found his house. I got out, said, I'm outside. And he comes out, and we realised we actually know each other. We actually follow each other on Instagram, and I'd actually met him like well over a dozen years ago, but he doesn't remember that, but I just remember that he was there. So it all turned out to be very strange and very small world again. You know, it's just that I know the British contingent who are watching this will understand obviously how small the British drumming community is, but the worldwide drumming community is obviously not that big. And but Daft, thank you again, mate, because I do love this drum. Yes, anyway, it's a fantastic drum. As I said, yes, it does have a 300 on the bottom. There you go. So I love these drums. I really do. As I said before, I love the drums. I love how they feel. I love how they sound, and I love how they look as well. Right, on to the rest of the kit. I have had a long-standing love of Peisty colour sounds. I've probably said that before. In fact, I've probably demonstrated that before enough. But I just thought for a bit of fun, I've picked up a couple of new ones of these in the last few months. So I thought I would... I finally had an excuse to sort of throw them up onto the kit. So the more keen-eyed among you will also know that I have a 22-inch 900 heavy ride, of which that is not. Yeah, I couldn't find it. Yeah, as dumb as that sounds, I actually couldn't find it. So it's in here somewhere, along with a load of other ride cymbals. But you know, how anyone could lose a stack of ride cymbals in 2 rooms is quite an achievement, I think. So anyway, just from left to right, then in fact, let's start down here. So we have the 14-inch 900 sound edge hi-hats. I really like the 900 hi-hats. I've got these ones as the sound edge, and I've got some blue ones which are just regular hats. I don't think I'd care to record with them as such, but in terms of using them live, I think they provide quite a nice sort of bright, sort of crunchy sound, but without being overly bright and crunchy, and I quite like that. They're quite sort of defined. So on the left here, we've got a very orange looking Colour Sound 5 16-inch crash. I've had that for a while. I'll tell you what, I'll come on to this.
So this is my first ever Colour Sound 5, and I've had this since about 1988, maybe 89. I picked it up for, I think it was like £30, 30 English pounds, back in the 80s. It was secondhand then. It's from 85. I think a lot of these are from 85, if I remember rightly. The other side is actually a lot better condition, but you know, it's been played. I've played it. I still enjoy playing it. It's a lovely cymbal. It really is. But yeah, that was my first ever China. In fact, it was one of my first ever cymbals. Which was, is as I said, still a thrill to play now. Right, I've got this is another Colour Sound 5. These next two are Colour Sound 5s, in fact. This is an 18-inch crash. I got this one more recently. I couldn't remember. I saw it on eBay, and I tend to pick up as many of these things as I can, funds willing. I saw that on eBay. And I couldn't remember if I had I already had an 18 or a 16. And I thought, yeah, well, I don't care. I'm just going to buy it anyway. It wasn't that much, so yeah, I've got two of them now. This is an 18-inch power crash. Obviously, you can see that the bell is a little bit, well, removed of its colour there, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. Right, I got this quite recently, probably about a month ago. This is a 2000 Colour Sound from, I think this was 1986. Apart from a couple of little marks, which you sort of, yeah, you can see there. This was, I mean, I've put a few marks on it from playing it, but this was in fantastic, almost mint condition. I'd say 8.5 plus condition. It's got a lovely sound to it, quite a nice bow sound. It is crashable. It's kind of not the most crashable, but it is crashable. And the bell is lovely, a nice clear sound there. I think this was the earlier of the two regular Colour Sound 5 18-inch crashes, just really by the amount of stick marks that are on it. I could clean these off. They would look a bit better. They're not quite as orange as they might seem, but you know what, I don't care. These are blasts from the past. I like them, and you know what, they're great. They're basically, I think, 2002s. Well, obviously the Colour Sound 5s are, the 2000 isn't, and the 900s aren't. But and the last thing is that I kind of changed up in here is that everything's on a rack, except for obviously the floor tom legs and the snare stand and the hi-hat stands. Yeah, I put it on a rack, and I kind of figured that in terms of swapping kits over, it would actually be easier. I haven't swapped any kits over since I put it up, but you know, I'm sure it will be easier. I figured that basically the cymbals were going to most likely stay in roughly the same position, so they wouldn't move, and it clears the floor a little bit of tripods, but I've had no problems with the rack. I've kind of found it easier actually with the bigger tom setup. It's kind of worked out a lot better for me. So you know, I don't know how long it will stay, but while it still remains semi-practical, then I'll keep it up. But anyway, I think it's nice to be back, actually. If anyone's got any questions, queries, anything else, then please do ask. I will get through any and all of the comments as I can. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking with me. Yeah, I'm going to try and get a video out every 2 weeks after this one. So hopefully, with life and everything else permitting, I will be able to do that. So, yeah, this is what it looks like as the whole. That's what it sounds like. Thanks for watching. See you again.